Hi, I'm Patrick McGuire, founder of Altus Ascent. I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach, yoga instructor, martial artist, and former IT director. I help high achievers evolve from who they had to be to who their life is calling them to become. Because let's face it, what got you here may not be what's needed for where you're headed next. Have you built success, but it feels like something is still missing? Maybe your health, your joy, your purpose? Are you ready to rise into your next chapter? Whether that's leading others, creating a legacy, or finally living in alignment with your truth, well, you're in the right place. Today's guest is somebody who embodies this exact transformation. Anthony Kenobi is a powerhouse, a father of two, a full-time cybersecurity professional, the founder of Chad Dad Fitness, helping middle-aged men get back in shape. He also runs Sip and Saucer, a brand serving up mugs and coasters for people doing life their way. What I respect most about Anthony is he didn't wait for the perfect time to get in shape or realign his vision. He made it happen in the middle of real life. In today's conversation, we dive into how he structures his life, where he draws his energy from, and what sustainable success looks like to him as a man, entrepreneur, and father. Anthony, I'm pumped to have you on. You've got this unique blend: fitness coach, corporate pro, entrepreneur, and dad. How did this journey start for you?
Well, Pat, thanks for having me on. And first off, for cybersecurity for one, right? I kind of just fell into it. I joined the military out of high school, and they said you're going to be in IT. Like, okay, so I became in IT, and I realized I was okay at it. I'm not the best at it, but I stayed with it. So I got a job in IT, and then while I was in IT, I kind of noticed that a lot of people were kind of struggling with just energy, being tired, getting kind of overweight. And I looked around and it wasn't just my field, it was the US in general, right? So, and then during 2020, I kind of saw that, wow, people really, COVID kind of woke myself up to be like, wow, if I can help people get in shape, I think it'll fix a lot of the problems that America's having in general, right? Um, so I started my little bit of knowledge I did have in fitness. I wasn't overweight. I wasn't really dialed in with everything. So I read, like most people, I read everything that I could and tried to prioritize fitness over everything else. And what I started to learn was fitness is really not that difficult, but there's a lot of nonsense information out there that you kind of have to just piece through and say you have to do X, Y, Z, and you'll be good, right? So I came to the conclusion that I really wanted to make health a priority for all middle-aged dads and try to embody that vision. Because if you don't have your health, you have nothing. You can have no money, you can have no job, you can find a new job, you can find ways to make more money. But once your health is gone, that's it. You can't get it back. Right?
That makes total sense. We live in a time of information saturation, and there are a lot of conflicting ideas out there. And one thing a good coach can do is curate that information and tailor it to meet the needs of each client. The other thing a leader does is they go first and they show the way. So thanks for being an example. What do you think it was that called you to invest in the development of other men? I mean, you could have easily just focused on you and not made it an investment to develop others.
So for me personally, it was becoming a father, right? I look around and we'll say fathers or more or less strong fathers are needed. And I think a lot of the problems culturally that we're having in America is weak or absent fathers, right? Men need to step up. We need to be stronger and we need to push and make ourselves better, which will embody for our kids, which can they can grow up and create a better society for us. It's up to us, the father, to do that. And I
Mhm.
can do it through fitness.
I see that. I look at fitness as a keystone habit. It helps me feel and show up better. And I agree that we need adults to set the example. Funny story. I train and practice soccer in my backyard, and occasionally the neighbor's daughter comes over and wants to play one on one. So one day she comes over with all this fancy footwork, and I was like, "Where did you learn to do that?" She said, "I learned it from watching you." I was floored. She was literally watching me practice soccer in my backyard and then would practice the same moves at home.
See, that's what I
So
mean. Kids. Kids are very, very perceptive, right? They're watching everything that we do, whether we know it or not, right? So I need to make sure I set a good example for my daughters? Or am I working out? Am I eating healthy? Am I not being too lazy? Am I spending enough time with her and actually being present when I'm spending time with my daughter, right? And because I want to make sure that if I can pass that down to them, they'll know what a good man is. So when they do get married, they will know what a good man is and they can start making a good family and it kind of steamrolls up like that, right? That's my philosophy in it.
Well, Anthony, I see you've gone beyond that. You're also setting an example for other adults. A lot of people would have thrown in the towel and neglect their health, but when we look at Anthony Kanobi, we see this guy who's in shape, balancing multiple endeavors and a family all at once. Was there a moment where you just realized you had to take control of your lifestyle to juggle all these roles?
Will admit now that I have the second kid now, I have a 1 month old that I've had to prioritize my family more and less on everything else. And I have to realize that some things are going to slip. I'm not going to have time for everything. So I have to have a list of what I prioritize and go down that order. For me, it's being present with my family and then my fitness and then my job, and then my side stuff. So I kind of knock things off in that order. And if I don't get to something, I'll pick it up next week if I can. And that's kind of how I got to keep pushing it because there's only so much time and I can do what I think I need to prioritize.
That works into this idea I've been thinking about, which is how I define success. I think a lot of people put fitness and family on the back burner, but like me, you recommend putting family and fitness first, then your job. How do you define success for yourself right now? Has that changed over the years?
Well, for me personally, it's my children, right? I didn't have a strong father growing up. My mom was always around, but I never really had a strong father figure to look up to. And I've just noticed a lot of children struggling because they need like adults to kind of help lead and nurture them. And I don't really see that as much as I used to say when I was a kid, and I also didn't have it when I was a kid as well, right? So the way I can push myself is if I keep my fitness in check, if I just work as hard as I can, I may fail along the way, that's fine, but I can keep doing and improving in every area that I can. And then that'll pass off to my children or maybe anyone else that is watching, and they can bring themselves up little by little, right? I'm not trying to be IFBB pro bodybuilder on the stage. I'm not trying to make trillions of dollars and fly around the world. I just want to do the best that I can. I'm not trying to compete with anybody else. I'm trying to compete with how I was yesterday and just steadily increase and get better and better. And that's all. And I think as long as I can keep seeing progression in those areas, to me, that's success.
Exactly. Comparing yourself to others is a recipe for feeling bad about yourself. Sure, get inspired by them, but compare yourself to where you are now and where you want to be tomorrow.
Exactly. And one thing I learned, I forget someone told me this a long time ago, and it kind of always stuck with me, but I forget who actually told me this, is don't take advice from people you don't want to be like. If someone's not living the life that you want, then any opinion that they have is irrelevant. Even if it's good for them, it's not good for you, right? If you don't want to be, say, an IFBB bodybuilder pro, don't listen to them because that's not going to fit your lifestyle. If you want to be a CEO of a multi-million company, follow the people that are actually doing that. Don't listen to the professor that's never run a business, right? So learn from people that you are actually living the life that you want to have, not what they think is successful.
Do you have any specific mental habits, mantras, or philosophies that help you stay grounded? I mean, sometimes I take on too much and I feel scattered. What do you do?
Honestly, mine is just going for a nice sprint. If I start getting stressed out and I really have too much going on, I will just go for I say a vigorous workout, something that's quick and it'll just get my heart rate up where I can sweat. It kind of refocuses me and I can knock out the tasks that need to be knocked out and then filter down back to what I was saying, the routine, the family, fitness, business, and all the way down, right? So if I start getting overwhelmed, I'll usually do something to just get myself really tired and too tired to focus on the stress and then knock out things as needed.
That makes sense because sometimes we zoom in on the stress and lose sight of the big picture. Things may not be as bad as they seem, and a little exercise can bring perspective. I mean, that makes sense for daily balance, but What about maintaining balance over a month or a quarter?
See, my wife is the one that does that for me. I'm like, hey, we should go do a thing because we're both kind of stressed out. So we'll make arrangements to say go out of town for the weekend, or every year we do go up and go to the beach for about roughly about a week in upstate New York. So we'll go do that once a week or once a year for about a week. And if I'm in the zone and the wife kind of can tell that I'm getting maybe a little bit sidetracked, a little bit stressed, she's like, hey, let's go take care of this. Go away for the week, take the daughter on a trip or something, right? Something along that line just to get out of the house and just forget about everything else you need to focus on, right? So that's more of me having a good wife that kind of helps me personally.
People watching this are probably wondering how the heck does this guy manage it all? Can you walk us through what a typical day looks like for you? How do you structure your day to balance being a father, employee, entrepreneur, and fitness coach?
So basically the first thing I do is I get up, take care of my little BMs in the morning, right? That's about a little bit FYI. And I'll come downstairs and I start my task, right? I have like my little thing. I need to knock out these three things for the day. Could be two, it could be one, but I gotta knock out these three things. And I try to work on them before my daughter wakes up. If she wakes up early, whatever, we'll do the whole fatherhood task, take care, do the breakfast thing, and then move back to that. And then as I knock out these tasks, I'll go take care of my 9 to 5 IA role, come back home, become a dad. When they go to bed, then I move over to the finished rest of the tasks I couldn't finish in the morning. So I kind of just prioritize it and I know how my day is structured. If I end up sleeping in late, well, then I know I'm going to be in the back end taking care of those tasks at night when everyone else is sleeping. So, and one thing that does help me personally is whatever task is stressing me out the most, I'll knock that out first. If something's it could be, say I'm trying to knock out a bunch of tasks throughout the day, but there's one I'm like, I really don't want to do this task. I will hit that one first, and that takes away most of the stress, and the rest of the day goes by much easier.
Let's face it, you clearly have a deep drive behind what you do. What drives you to keep pushing in multiple areas? Fitness, business, career, and family.
You have to find your why, right? Everyone's why is different. Like I said, for me personally, it's my children, right? You need to find your why. Why do you want to be better? Do you want to prove everybody wrong and say, oh, I can chill them? Do you say, I want to be huge jack bodybuilder? I want to do this. I want to be able to be healthy for my children. Whatever your why is, you have to find out what your why is and think about that why whenever you're tired and whenever you want to quit because
Mm,
you're going to hit roadblocks. It's going to be hard, and you're going to need to have a why that can basically overcome all your excuses, right? Like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, but for me, my daughter needs me to be better. My daughter needs me to be stronger. My daughter needs me to make more for whatever reason, right? So your why doesn't have to be my why, but you have to find that why that can get overcome any excuse when you start losing that fire. Some
mm,
people will call it discipline. I really, yes, you need discipline, but discipline can also wane as well, right? Sometimes you need to have just a why that can just outdo anything. And for me, that's why I said, for me personally, it's my children, right?
yeah.
Most people probably have their children, but it doesn't have to be children. It can be whatever is that why. You may not know what that why is, but find it and dial in on that why.
Do you have any non negotiables that help you protect your energy?
Don't always respond to people immediately. I,
Mm,
I have people that I will like. My family is obviously number one. If they need something, I will be there and I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll take care of them. My non-negotiables are my family, and it kind of trickles down because I'm so busy. Some things will drop, and I'll get back to them when I have the time, or sometimes I'll just forget. But usually, my non-negotiables are my family, right? And if I don't get back to you within a day, it's because I'm spending time with the family or handling a family emergency, right? Does that make sense?
yeah. A non negotiable for me is fitness. That reminds me when I first started going to the gym in the morning. I was surprised to see how many people were actually there at 5:30 a.m. And I found that if I worked out in the morning, I didn't have as much stress throughout the day. But if I waited to work out later that day, my chest was tight and I felt more stressed throughout the day.
For me personally, I like to work out at night. That's kind of how I built my routine. Whenever I try to work out first thing in the morning, I noticed that my personal workouts weren't up to the standards as they should be as when they were at night. So I found ways to prioritize my afternoon night workout as opposed to the morning, right? So that's me personally. And I seem to work out better at night because that extra stress from the day, I kind of just blow through it with a nice heavy workout and cardio session. And then that stress is gone and I sleep like a baby and I'm ready to actually go. So everyone's different. That's just me personally.
I get that. I'm definitely strong in the afternoons, but sometimes things pop up in the afternoon and I just might miss my workout.
Hey, I've heard that too. Trust me. There is no wrong answer, right? The only wrong answer is not going.
Yeah. So you might say the best workout is one you actually do. Let's talk fitness. You coach other men, and it's clearly a core part of who you are. How has fitness influenced your approach to business and
The
parenting?
other thing too is people don't understand like being in good shape doesn't have to be like super muscular and like super ripped, but just being at a healthy weight and being somewhat strong helps everything. It makes everything easier. You can handle more stress and you don't really get as stressed because you can just handle the load much easier. So that's why another reason why I strive on fitness a lot for most things. People that are in shape are more trustworthy, right? If you want to succeed in business, if you want to succeed in fatherhood, you have to be in shape because people will naturally just respect you more. It's a psychological thing. I'm not sure exactly what causes that, but it is what it is, right? So when I say that if you prioritize your fitness, everything else in your life will fall into place and you will see it. It's not easy. It's tough to get up every day and work out and all these things, but it will improve your life. It's the fitness that actually does that. It's not trying to find to make millions, and it's not anything else. It is your having a decent body composition and just being strong. That'll fix a lot of the issues that you think are not fitness related. I kind of rambled there. Does that make sense?
Wow, that does make sense and potentially requires a hard look in the mirror. I know John Maxwell talks about the lid of an organization, and it sounds like you're saying that's a potential red flag. On another note, is there anything that you've dropped that's no longer serving you?
Yes, one thing that I've dropped is just a lot of my excuses, like I can do it later. I'm too old for this. I don't know how to do this. No, I'm either going to figure it out or I'm going to try to do it, right? And if I end up not doing it, all right, well then we'll try something else, right? I don't know. I guess you could say my excuses are the ones that I dropped.
Mhm. What shifts do you see in your clients that go beyond just the physical transformation?
A lot of people that come to me, they come to me and they're very, very beaten down and they're very, very self-conscious and they're at probably like the darkest time in their life. And yes, they lose the weight. Yes, they put on muscle, depending on whatever their goal is. But at about the 1 month mark, you can just see their vigor for life start to just jump up. Like they're they're happier, they spend more time with their kids. I just like spending more time with my kids. They spend more time with their wife. They're working, they're better at work, right? And it's all because their mindset around I'm now feeling better about myself makes them project what they're doing better, right? So you can just see that they just look happier, they look healthy, look vigorous, and that's the thing that I'm trying to fix, and that's what I love to see. The fitness looking better is great, right? But feeling and just that vigor for life is what we're trying to build, right?
Right. That makes sense. I mean, it's body, spirit, mind. And it's hard to feel good emotionally or spiritually when you're sick, and vice versa. If your mind and emotions are unwell, it can manifest in your body. So I love Sip and Saucer. It's creative, fun, and feels like a different kind of outlet. What inspired it? And how do you see it fitting into the big picture of your life?
I don't know. I'm a very creative person. I'm not really creative, but I like to kind of do and figure out things. And when AI started getting big, I started learning how to prompt pictures, how to prompt this, and then I went from maybe I can make a coaster to what would sell, how would do this. So I started making designs that I like, how to tweak designs, and then I realized I don't like the quality of this. Maybe I'll make the coaster from scratch, and it now morphed into let's make a coaster business. So I kind of just started figuring things out and I just kind of put it up on Etsy. And if we figure out how to sell millions of coasters, awesome. If not, whatever I tried, right? Just some skill I just self-taught myself that I just wanted to do because I had an idea, right? That's it.
I mean, that makes sense. I think it's good to have a creative outlet. It adds to the spice of life. I like to sing and play my guitar, but I'm not winning any awards for it. It's just fun. Well, how do you find time for creativity in the middle of such a full schedule?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that's really hard. I usually just, whenever I'm sitting for a couple minutes or I'm reading something or I see something inspiring, I may try to dive into it. And a lot of my creativity comes through fitness, and I'll jump into why does magnesium work the way it does, right? What does is high rep better than low rep? I'll start researching things and I just take a bunch of notes, information, I dig through all of that, and that's how I make a lot of my content for I talk about fitness, right? I just get creative and I try to figure something out. And sometimes if that deep dive takes me 2 weeks because I have so limited free time, well, then it takes 2 weeks, right? I just kind of, I'll have a thought, research it as much as I can, and then I will stop when I get busy again, and then I will circle back to it because I have like a tracker how I track certain things. Oh yeah, I was researching this, so I keep going down. When it's done, it's done. I kind of just move on, right? I have a lot of unfinished ideas that are sitting there right now that I got more time to do, right? But like
Hmm.
I said, you have to just find ways to prioritize. And if it takes longer because of being busy, well, it takes longer. Just don't forget about it, right?
That makes sense to me. And as a high achiever myself, I had to recognize that I can't do it all at once. I needed to have seasons, just like when I played 3 sports growing up. There was a season for each sport. It sounds like you also had some momentum going. While building Chad Dad Fitness, you learned some foundational skills like setting up a website, doing client outreach. Just like playing one sport gave me foundational skills like agility and endurance, allowed me to pick up other sports fairly easily.
That is true. I now I have kind of a foundation of how to do certain things, so I can set up a website on Etsy quicker than if I didn't know anything, right? So that's why I'm big on just keep learning skills. You never know when that skill will be useful down the road, right? So I mean, just like I was playing around with AI, making AI pictures, and that ended up becoming now I can make custom ceramic coasters, right? So I mean, it just morphs into whatever, right? So always learn something because you never know when you'll need it or even want to
Yeah.
use it.
What do you hope your kids are learning by watching you live this way?
It's a good question, honestly. I don't know. I just hope that they see that what a good adult or good parent should do so they can emulate that when they're older and pass that down to their kids, right? I want them to be self-sufficient and healthy their whole life and not have to deal with feeling tired, feeling out of shape, feeling they don't make enough. I want them to know that if they work hard, if they just keep pushing and they keep grinding, they will be able to build whatever life that they want to build, right? And I hope that I'm projecting that to them. I'll do my best to teach them this is why I do this, this is why I do this. And if they take that into heart, hopefully they do, and they'll be able to have all the things I didn't when I was younger, right?
Yeah. Well, that's part of it too. We face certain challenges growing up. And I think one of the things we can do as adults is knock down those molehills and turn them into launching ramps so our kids can go farther than we did. Any dad hacks or lessons you learned along the way?
Yes, when before the birth of my first daughter, we read probably every parenting book under the sun to make sure we were prepared. Prepared? We used none of that. None of that mattered. We had to just kind of roll with the punches and figure it out on the fly, right? So I guess one of the dad hack is don't overly focus and analyze on trying to learn something. You'll kind of just know what to do, right? We kind of just figured out what to do in certain situations. Oh, daughter's yelling for this. She needs this. She's doesn't feel good because of this. She's not eating because of this. We kind of just figure it out as opposed to reading 160 million books to figure out why kids are doing the things that they do, right? I don't know, just life. I guess life is the best teacher as opposed to trying to read and try to figure things out on from experts, right?
Well, life is a good teacher, especially evaluated experience. Otherwise, everyone who's old would be wise. Learn that at John Maxwell. Any dad hacks or lessons you learned the hard way?
Obviously, you should double down on what works. If something's working, keep doing it, find ways to do it better, right? But if you focus too much on one area, you're going to have to sacrifice those other areas. Like you have to, right? If your only goal in life is to make like billions of dollars, well, then you're probably going to be out of shape and have no family life, right? So I mean, you're going to have to make sacrifices somewhere. So it's all what you want to sacrifice to achieve what you want. And for me, I want to be the best father. I want to be the best husband. I want to be in good shape for my age, or I want to be in the best shape I can be for my age without venturing into unhealthy habits, right? That's what I want to do, so that's what I'm going to prioritize.
One of the things I coach around is sustainable success. What does that mean to you, and how do you keep pushing forward without burning out?
I do what I can, right? I know my non-negotiables are prioritize my fitness and my family, right? So I will take care of whatever those tasks are for the day, and everything else I'll push as much as I can. There is so much time in the day. People that say you can go hard and do these things, they either they have their own minds. Like, say, David Goggins, right? He is a monster at this one field. He's failing in a lot of other realms no one wants to talk about, right? He can't keep a relationship and all type of stuff too, right? If you want to have balance, you have to sacrifice being an extreme 0.1% in every field, right? You have to pull that back and say spend some of that time on, say, family or on business or on fitness, right? You're not I'm 38. I'm not going to be a ripped bodybuilder benching 450 pounds one-handed. I'm 38 and I work a middle and I work a 9 to 5. Neither are most people that I coach, right? If you want to, then go for it, right? But everyone's like, we're going to be the 1%. You're not the 1%, right? You're not.
I've experienced that, trying to add more and more activities to my life. I used to say, oh, well, nothing's in that space. Sure, I can pick up another activity. But what I realized is that empty space was crucial for reflecting and solidifying those activities in my mind. And when I filled that space with new endeavors, I was losing a little bit with that context shifting.
Like find where you're at and just improve, right? Say, I want to build muscle. Cool. Start lifting weights. I want to burn some fat. Cool. Eat better, get some cardio. I want to make more money. Cool. Start learning skills that'll make you money. That's it. Like, you have to just keep like trickling up and down and go up, 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 as opposed to I'm going to be this crazy bodybuilder guy up here and forget about everything else, right? Like, you have to, yes, you have to want it, but you can't hyper focus on one thing if you want to be able to maintain everything else. Like, there's only so much time in the day, and if you want to find balance, you have to do all the things that will give you balance. You have to.
What advice would you give your younger self? Are things you do now to maintain balance that you wish you did earlier?
Train legs, honestly, train lower body. When I was younger, man, I just, the whole gym bro, like, oh, I gotta bench and gotta curl, and it's the whole gotta just lift heavy and don't do legs. I've noticed more and more as I get older, leg training is very important. If you want to live longer, live healthier, and not fall apart when you're older, you have to have strong legs. And it may sound stupid, but I think that is the most important thing to do from business all the way down is just to have strong legs. Work your legs.
Right? That's the foundation. My old martial arts instructor was also an acupuncturist, and he had this expression he would say all the time: people die from the ground up. We sit in our chairs, we get in our cars, we lose our connection to the earth, and all of a sudden our life force exists from the waist up. And then slowly it gets higher and higher, and eventually it's like, and it's gone.
Smart man, I'm telling you, I wish I learned that younger, right? I didn't really prioritize legs like I should have when I was younger, lower body in general.
Yeah, it's a big muscle group. And if you're trying to boost your metabolism, well, that's a good place to start.
Basically, if you want to be lean, mean, and have high testosterone, you need to train legs.
Yeah.
If you want to
Uh,
look big, if you want to look big and have people stare at you, then do upper body. But if you actually want to be healthy and you want to look better, you need to train legs.
and correct me if I'm wrong. When you train legs, especially back squats, you're still training your upper body because you have to have your back muscles engaged to stabilize your core, right?
And yes, but obviously when I say squats, we'll do a lot more muscles than just the legs, right? Deadlifts train almost every muscle in the body, more or less, right? But
Mhm.
theory, it's mostly lower body focused, right? And your core should be trained on almost all your lifts that you're doing if you're doing it correctly, right?
What's next for you? Are there new goals or ambitions on the horizon?
So I had a thought to myself that one of the things I've been trying to work on is I want to build a say, a protein company from scratch and kind of document my journey while I'm doing it. Like I'll try this. If it fails, I'll try something else. I'll keep failing and kind of showing in public how I'm learning how to make a supplement or a protein company. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm going to show my process of how I'm going to do it. That's what I want to do. And I have a thing where I kind of want to try to save the bees. So I'm going to use honey as like the vector to try and save the bees. So we'll see if we can pull it off.
Okay, let's do a quick fire round. Just go with your gut. Daily habit you swear by.
Daily habit I swear by: do something that you hate every day. Just do it every day. Do it.
What's one piece of fitness or hustle advice you disagree with?
Just because you're bigger doesn't mean you understand fitness.
If someone feels like they're dropping the ball in one area of life, where should they start?
Figure out why you failed and if it's really a priority for you. If you want to do it, then figure out why you want to do it, find that why, and go.
Anthony, this has been awesome. Thank you for sharing so openly. For those of you who want to follow his work, whether it's Chad Dad Fitness, Sip and Salsa, or just his thoughts online, you can find his links in the description. Thank you so much. This is Patrick McGuire with Altus Ascent, helping you transition to the next chapter of your life.